Caribbean Food Network tonight. Myself is Chef Ricky Dean. I'm one of the co-hosts of the show, our weekly show. We have the honor of having Mr. Willard John here, one of the great ambassadors of our culture in the Virgin Islands, as well as our African heritage that goes, beyond the Virgin Islands. So, Mr. Willard John, welcome for coming on the show tonight.
I'm very happy to be here to talk about food and in a broader sense, culture.
Yeah, food plays a very important role in our culture. We've been under various different flags in our cultures. We borrow different things from food. So tonight we're having conch prepared by Chef Santos, which is a very staple in our community. Conch, So is that one of your favorites, Mr. John?
Yes, I love conch, and we know that conch is a sea snail of the mollusk family, and it's uniquely prepared in the Caribbean, and even more uniquely prepared here in the Virgin Islands. I do understand that we're doing
Curry conch, yes.
So what about curry now? Let's talk about curry now.
Well, curry I think has Indian heritage by nature, but you also see places like Thailand that have curry. So spices are one of those things that when you migrate into other cultures, you would bring with you, and they were not heavy. They took up a little bit of space, and so you would borrow from different cultures. So that's a pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to the curry conch tonight.
Yeah, this curry powder that they make, it consists of a series of different spices.
It is.
And I think two of the main ones would be turmeric and coriander.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Turmeric has a lot of health benefits. We're finding out that stuff, and that's one of the things that's very powerful about our culture. A lot of our stuff had medicinal benefits. Turmeric is one of those. They're finding out it's very beneficial for a lot of things healthy wise. So it's good. Even our food has health benefits as well as nurturing.
One of the unique things I like about St. Croix is in the last year or two, we're really becoming a culinary destination.
Exactly.
Having this food show is really going to be a showcase of skills and talents.
That is so true, and that's one of the main purposes of why we're doing this. We're showcasing our culture as well as our food, and letting the world know this is a great place, and it's got a lot of great food. And they come on in and taste it, and taste, as we say here, taste someone's hand, as we refer to it, is how they prepare something.
And to me, the unique thing about our culture is that we do these things for us, not to put on a show for others. And in doing it well for ourselves, other people want to come and see what is it that they're enjoying about their own culture.
And that's so true because each chef has their own footprint. Each chef has their own way of doing things, and they borrow from whatever they were taught, what childhood flavor they like, and they build on that, and that becomes their signature. And that's very important in our culture. It's just not one way to do something. We're very inclusive, and in our culinary ways we are inclusive. But if it tastes good, that's the mark you hit.
That is true. Well, and then the more emphasis placed on health benefits as well. The manner in which we prepare it to make sure that you receive it in a healthy manner.
And so one of the things that we also can rely on is organic is big in other places, but we don't really realize, and a lot of people don't realize, we grow a lot of stuff here. So we have like from the ocean to the table, from the garden to the pot, then to the table. A lot of stuff is organically grown because we're an island, so we have a tendency to produce a lot of good things, and that transfers to having fresh food, which is a good base for anything that you cook.
Well, the trend in the United States and other parts of the world is farm to table, sea to table, ocean to table.
Exactly.
And we're following that trend, but we've been doing that for quite some time.
Exactly. Basically, in our culture, fishermen were just like farmers.
Precisely.
Yeah, they were farmers of the ocean. So back in the day, going to the Saturday market, as a child included going to the fish market, seeing your uncle, pick out what fish you want, and then, you go to the vegetable market, see your uncle that's a farmer, my grandfather was a farmer. So that whole encompassing of picking the food, you learn the importance of that at a young age. So you had the ability to pick it, what it would look like, and then the next part was eating it.
I've often heard the elders growing up say that farmers and fishermen are closer to God, and that is because of what they deal with, what they work with. They bring the elements of nature to the table for us to consume.
Consuming food, I always say, is a very intimate and spiritual experience. Because you're taking, the gifts that Mother Earth has for you, or someone has grown, and you're preparing it, and sometimes you keep it as close as you can to the natural state. That some people do that, but still, if it's coming from the garden, less pesticide, very clean, it's going to have a good taste.
The preparation and consumption of food has always been an important ritual throughout the history of man.
Yes.
And of course here in the Virgin
Yes.
Islands, it's no exception.
Yes. You know, we always, you know, one of the things that's very foreign to us, you know, here is leftovers. We don't really do leftovers as a people. We usually cook one day and that's about it. We go back, you know, because it's so freshly available. We're embracing the fresh part of our culture that, you know, every day is kind of a different pot. You know, whatever is available on the market, that's what you cook. So a lot of our chefs have built in that ability to be flexible, you know, and that's part of our culture that you can see.
That reminds me, I was reading a little bit about some of our Indian culture, the Arawaks
Yes.
and the Sudanese that were here. And they're the ones that came up with this concept of the pepper pot.
Yes.
And the pepper pot, they would put a number of ingredients
Yes.
in their vegetables, ground food, as well as meats and fish.
Yeah.
And what they would do is whenever they kept it going 24/7,
Yes.
and whenever they got new stuff, they would add
Add it
to
to it,
it.
yeah, exactly.
And, that's
Yeah.
a very interesting
Yeah.
concept.
It's very much so.
Because you're blending the whole with the new.
Exactly. Even when you look at kalaloo, you know, we know the origin of kalaloo came from Africa. But as you go down the Caribbean, there's different ways of kalaloo.
That is correct.
You know, the Africans, you know, my brother-in-law's from Cameroon. His mother made kalaloo. She uses a white cornmeal, but it's the same punji.
Yes.
You know, it's a white punji. So when you look at our ancestors, remembering where they came from and keeping that heritage alive when they're cooking, you tend to use what's available. You know, so you may pick, you know, a bata bush or a kalaloo bush here because that's what you had to make it. And then that's how you did it, you know. So cooking also keeps the culture alive. You know, it's a historical way of you know, sharing, and you come together, the people around food, and you tend to have a good time.
And culture is dynamic as well as the preparation of food. So what may have been a recipe 100 years ago, maybe a bit different today,
Yes.
but still the basic.
Basically,
ingredients.
yes, yeah, agreed. And the main thing is love. You know, when you cook with love, I always say that, or anything you do with love, it's gonna taste good.
Yeah, and when you eat the food, you know if there's love in it.
You know, yeah, that is so true. You know, and that's very beautiful about what we do. And so when people come to visit, it's a different experience. You know, they're like, wow, I can taste the flavors. I can taste the seasoning. You know, that's something we do because it's fresh. You know, we do like a local thyme. You know, that's a fresh flavor that you won't taste that much in the States unless you're featuring the actual herb in a dish, where that's actually a staple. Or sofrito, born from the Spanish element. You know,
Precisely. Whenever West Indians cook, the first thing they do is blend up all
Yes.
the herbs and
Yes.
get those flavors
Exactly.
going, and then they add the main ingredients
Yeah.
to that.
That's
that
how-
would absorb those
that's how I was
flavors.
taught, and I was, you know, it's pretty amazing when I, you know, was taking some classes. They call it a mirepoix, and I was like, well, that's what grandma did.
What was
That's
that, a what?
A mirepoix. From the
That's French?
French.
I don't know French.
Yeah.
Explain that.
So
to
that's
me. What I mean.
that's basically what we do. We chop up everything, we saute it. That's the base. You know, so you realize that we're very culinary rich as a people here. You know, it's borrowed from different, you know, different cultures. And your grandmother or your mother did it a certain way, but it's actually stuff that they teach at a very high level of culinary skills. So that's why the basis of our food is so unique. You know?
And one of the things I like about today is we have a lot of trained chefs
Yes.
now, but they take some of the original
Exactly.
ingredients from our grandparents and our
Exactly.
ancestors, and then they put that four-star
Yes.
touch on
Exactly.
it, and it really makes a
It's
big
definitely, yeah,
difference.
it does. Because sometimes when you do that way, your availability of items, you may change the protein to a mahi versus the pot fish, but that's because of availability of mahi. You know, you can cook at a larger scale, you know, it's a little more easier, you know, but it's still the taste. You still have that signature, you know, you may do a Creole onion or, you know, or blanc they would call it, which is nothing but fungi, you know, but we call it fungi, but there's another name for it.
In Ghana, they say fufu.
Fufu or cuckoo,
Yes.
right? You know?
Cuckoo in Barbados.
Barbados. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. You know, you can see the lineage of food transgressing to the Caribbean. And that's why it's so important. You know, we have a lot of culinary stuff here in St. Croix, and that's why one of our missions is to broadcast that to the world and let them know what we got. Come and get a taste. You know, bring your spoon when you come, because we got it for you.
But
We got it for you.
having said all of this,
Yes.
I am really excited to see how this conch dish is going to be
Yes.
prepared. I have my iPad so I could take copious notes
Yes.
to see how this comes out
Exactly.
and eventually to taste it.
I've never had curry conch before, so this is the first. So, you know, a lot of chefs step out on that edge. You know, they know conch is something important, or a lot of people like it. So they're like, okay, well, if you like conch, I'm going to take a little curry. Let me see how I can bring those tastes in, you know, and bring two cultures together, you know. So that's what's beautiful about it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways they prepare conch.
Yes,
But
exactly.
the curry conch is going to be
It's
very
interesting.
good tonight.
It's very-
I can't
yeah,
wait.
I can't wait, you know. And that's the thing about a chef. When you step out on a limb and you do it, you bring it good. So I congratulate, you know, Chef Santos. You know, before I even taste it, for taking that challenge. For taking that challenge, you know, because we know good food in the Caribbean. And that's one thing we can say. So when we know good food, you got to bring good food. So when you step up to the plate with food, you know the benchmark is high already. You know, so that's what's beautiful about it. So that's part of the game, you know.
You know, I'm excited about Chef Santos too, and one of the things I'm excited about is the cadre of the young chefs that are coming up, which is going to ensure that we have a future in the culinary world right here in the Virgin Islands.
And one of the things that are very beautiful, you know, that the first thing they may ask, you know, where did you study? You know, where did you go? Well, I tell them I'm self-taught. You know, I learned in the kitchen on the biscuit pan looking at my grandmother cook, you know, and that's where I learned the culture. And that's where I draw from the most. That's my university. Then I go, you take classes here and there. But it's all about making good food. It's all about remembering that one time you smell something. You want to learn what that is. You know, you want more, so you learn to make it. You know, and that's what's beautiful about it.
You know, when we grow up and we go out into the world, we always revert back to mommy and grandma and what they have prepared.
Yes.
How many times have you called home and said, how do you prepare this, mom or grandma? So that you can, you're trying to replicate that taste that you knew you grew up with and you so long for.
Exactly. You want to share that part of your culture with somebody else. It's like bragging rights, you know? This is my culture. I want to show you what it's about. You know, sometimes they never had that before. You know, this is the first time they had it. You're like, wow. So they want more of that. You know, and that, you know, that's the kind of stuff we want to bring, you know, to the public, you know, outside of these borders so they can come here, you know, and enjoy our wonderful show tonight. You know, with, myself and my wonderful co-host, Precious. We got some good stuff for you tonight. So, we'll be there. Looking forward to talking to you more about food.
I can't wait to taste.
It's going to be a good one. So, you know, stand by for that. And once again, the Caribbean Food Network, thanks for tuning in. It's some good stuff tonight, and future other shows will definitely show a lot about our culture. We'll have great guests, also like Mr. Willard John, representing our culture in many ways, and talk about it.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm excited. So that's about it. So we'll call that a wrap. Until our next session here, that's it. We'll see you soon.